Good afternoon, everyone. We're taking time each month to review the new Educator Effectiveness Model, which will be implemented next year. We're walking you through this process and hopefully answering as many questions as possible so you know what you can expect in the future. I need to thank Teresa Payne and Renee Stroh for spending time instructing me on how to use Camtasia. Creating this short video and sending it out to all the buildings saves a lot of time, and it helps to ensure that all of our staff throughout the district are hearing the same messages. The goal today with the first video will be to familiarize you with the key components of the Educator Effectiveness Model and give you an opportunity to see how it's similar and different from what we've done in the past. So let's get going. I thought it would be helpful to use the LNAG model for this video, so I'm fulfilling the same expectations we have for you in your lesson plan development. Today's learning objective is for you to understand both the purpose and the pieces of the new evaluation system. We'll be reviewing our old system as a way to access your previous knowledge before presenting new information on the Charlotte-Danielson model, which provides the framework for educator effectiveness. By noting similarities and differences between educator effectiveness and our old system, you'll be applying that information. And lastly, your building principals will be facilitating some discussion at the end of today's video for you to share what you've learned as well as share questions or concerns. So let's take about 2 to 3 minutes and each of you share with the person sitting next to you the process of evaluation which Tomah has used in the past. Welcome back. Do I have everyone's attention? Let's see if these are some of the areas that you mentioned. Typically, the principal came in and did an observation. You may or may not have had a pre-evaluation conference. The principal completed the short Form A or the summative Form A and then reviewed his or her observations with you. Now, this process happened at least once every 3 years. Every year you were expected to write a great plan, and this was a plan in which you set your own personal goals and then reflected on your success in implementing that plan. There was no direct tie between your great plan and your evaluation. Lastly, you could also complete a PEP plan if you wanted to. This plan could take up to 3 years, and it involved a major goal which you wish to accomplish. Feedback from your building principal was provided, but whether your plan improved student achievement was never reflected in an evaluation. In recent years, principals have been completing short walkthrough observations, spending 5 or 10 minutes in the classrooms, and then completing the LNAG observation form to provide you with feedback on whether your instruction was utilizing best practice. Again, no direct tie to your evaluation. So in summary, you were observed, provided with feedback, expected to set some goals and reflect on them, but that was not necessarily tied to your evaluation, and there was very little measurement of what you were doing and how that impacted student achievement. I'll let you be the judge of how effective that was. The Educator Effectiveness System is a performance-based evaluation system that couples the evaluation of professional practice with student outcomes. Working to improve instructional practice is important, but not in isolation of student outcomes. At the end of the day, every student in every classroom should be making achievement gains as a result of the leadership in their classrooms and schools. I know that this is the area that causes most concern for educators, student outcomes. I think it's important for you to know that there will be multiple measures used and multiple years factored into the student outcome piece. One of those student outcome pieces is the SLO process. All teachers and principals must identify one ambitious yet achievable goal that's aligned to school, district, or state educational goals each year. SLO refers to student learning outcomes for teachers and school learning outcomes for principals. We'll use standardized assessments, so the Wisconsin Knowledge and Concepts Test, the Smarter Balanced assessments. These will be used in order to give us data on student performance. We'll also be looking at outcomes that are on the district report cards or school report cards. So school-wide literacy as measured by the reading, English, language arts scores, and graduation rates will be incorporated into that student outcome piece. And lastly, each district does get to select a measure of growth that they choose that can be included in that process. Now, because SLOs account for a significant portion of the student outcome piece, we'll spend time this year working together on writing SLOs and how the SLO process works. This figure illustrates for you the teacher evaluation cycle. Between now and the end of October, the orientation bubble and the data review, development of SLOs, and self-reflection for an education effectiveness plan will occur. November through March is when observations and evidence collection occurs. The rating of practice will run from February through the end of the school year, and the final evaluation conference can be expected anytime between April and June. The results of the evaluation should then inform the goals and EE plan for the following year. Charlotte Danielson's framework for teaching is the model which has been adopted for evaluating your teaching practice. The framework is organized into 4 domains and 22 components. Domain 1, Planning and Prep, defines how a teacher organizes the content students are to learn, how you design instruction. Domain 2, the classroom environment, consists of the non-instructional interactions that occur in the classroom. Does a respectful environment exist? Are routines handled effectively? Is there a culture for learning? Domain 3 consists of the components that are actually involved in engaging students in content, the distinct elements of instruction. For example, communication, questioning and discussion techniques, and the use of assessments. And lastly, Domain 4, Professional Responsibilities, encompasses your role outside of the classroom, the contributions you make to your own professional growth and to the school, district, and profession as a whole. Now, Domain 2 and 3 are the domains which are readily observable in the classroom. Domain 1 and 4 will require you, again, to be collecting evidence and artifacts to document your success in fulfilling the components of those domains. Rubrics have been created which describe the performance levels of each of the 22 components. There are 4 ratings: unsatisfactory, basic, proficient, and distinguished. Educator effectiveness, we've been reminded over and over again that the highly effective rating is a place you visit. It's not a place where you live. There will be varying degrees of proficiency on the different components, and that's expected and normal. What's really great about the Danielson model is that it does define, and we can actually see through videos, highly effective teaching as well as ineffective teaching. And that helps us to articulate the areas in which we will all work to improve. So at this time, let's take a few minutes again to discuss with a partner what differences as well as similarities exist between the Tomah School District's former evaluation system and the new Educator Effectiveness System. Welcome back. Let's see if you hit on some of these similarities. Did you notice that in both models there's classroom observation? Also, you may have noticed that the domain of Charlotte Danielson's framework, those domains are similar to what teachers were evaluated in the Tomah School District before. Preparation and planning, classroom management, instruction, professionalism were part of that form, short form A. Both systems involved goal setting and reflection. Again, whether you created a great plan or a PEP plan, you were setting goals and reflecting on your success. What about differences? Did you note that in the Educator Effectiveness Model, you as teachers are expected to provide artifacts and documentation of your work for examination? Did you note that you're creating SLOs, student learning outcomes, and they will be part of the evaluation? Did you note that the results of your evaluation will be used to set goals for the following year? And probably the biggest difference is just that success in meeting goals, both in your teaching practice and student achievement, is included in your evaluation. The bottom line is we want to improve support, we want to improve practice, and we want to improve outcomes through the educator effectiveness system. This is why I do believe we are embarking on a much better system for both teacher and principal evaluation. It will take more effort, it will take more time, but it should result in improved outcomes for teachers, students, schools, and our district as a whole. Don't forget, again, research shows that teacher and leader effectiveness are the two most important school factors that influence student achievement. So providing you with the support, providing you with practice opportunities, and improving outcomes needs to be part of this process. All of our education effectiveness data and documentation, along with the professional resources, will be encapsulated in a software platform called Teachscape. Funding was provided in the state budget to purchase a Teachscape license for every teacher. Teachscape is a powerful software system that will train educators on the standards and rubrics that are used in educator effectiveness. It makes the observation process and the digital collection of artifacts very efficient by providing data storage and retrieval. And there's a vast digital library of professional resources that will be available for your use. So we are able to leverage technology to make educator effectiveness easier to implement. But again, learning Teachscape will require time and effort. So what are our next steps? Here's what you should be doing before our next meeting on educator effectiveness. First of all, get a Danielson Smart Card from your building principal. This is a laminated card that contains a description of the 4 domains and 22 components on which you'll be observed. Start to become familiar with the knowledge and skills referenced on the card. Secondly, go to the DPI website. Locate the Educator Effectiveness page and begin exploring that information. The document that will be most valuable to you is the Teacher Evaluation Process Manual. There's a new version. It's version 2, which was finalized this summer. Take time to look through that document, specifically Appendix A, which has teacher sources of evidence, and then Appendix B, which is the teacher self-rating form. Both of those documents will be printed off and given to you, and we would like you to begin taking time to assess your own awareness of where you fall in each of the components and how you would currently rate yourself. Lastly, begin thinking about what an appropriate SLO would be for you to use. You can look at a number of different pieces of information. You have classroom data on your students. There's the school report card, the district report card. You can confer with your grade level colleagues or building colleagues. But be thinking about different areas in which improvement is needed for students, either in your classroom or in the building, and begin generating some ideas of goals for student improvement. So principals, at this time, we'd like you to wrap up this meeting with your staff members by taking time to have them summarize information that they learned today, as well as generate any questions or concerns that they may have. I'll expect you to please send that to me via school mail. Thank you very much for your attention as we walked through this first video related to educator effectiveness, and have a great evening. Thank you.